Hello and welcome to the video for Thursday, October 8th for Advanced Web Design. Let people in from the waiting room. Hello.
Hello.
How you guys doing today?
Okay, how are you?
Good. Anyone have any exciting, interesting, or just plain boring news to report? Take that as a no. Let's see, maybe somebody's typing something in that chat. Some participants, admit Grady. Let's look at the chat. Where's the chat? Right here. Okay. Let me go ahead and put you guys into the attendance here. It's present. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's see. Go back here. Go back here. Okay. Let me double check and make sure there's no presentations or anything happening today. Web design. Looks like Dylan. Dylan, are you here? Dylan, yes, you're here. Hey Dylan, how's it going? I don't see a microphone for you. Oh, you're connected.
Greg.
Hey, how you doing today, Dylan?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hey, have you got the most spectacular presentation of all time for us?
Oh, okay, that's quite the build-up there. I have a presentation.
Well, I'm just telling you, it's got to be the best thing ever. Or else I'm going to award the best presentation ever to Trevor, who did a color presentation in the last class. So yours has to be better, or it's nothing.
Or else.
Yeah, or else, basically. So do you have it ready to go, or?
I do. Do you mind if I share my screen?
No, let me go ahead and, okay, I just enabled that. So go ahead and share your screen, and we'll take a look at your presentation.
Okay, thank you. I haven't done this before. Do I just hit share screen and then screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you can see what I'm seeing?
Yeah. Well, it's not my screen, so I assume it's yours.
Yeah.
unless we got connected to a third world country or something.
Got hacked.
Yeah, if we got hacked, that would be cool. That'd be fun. That'd be interesting.
A little exciting, huh?
Yeah, we could talk to the hacker. Hey, man.
How you doing?
Yeah, right. How's the ransomware going?
What's your take on things?
Yeah, really. What country are you in?
Present. Okay, so I did 5 must-haves for a successful e-commerce website. I
Okay.
have pictures in the presentation, but I selected 3 websites. So once I'm done with the presentation, I'll go to the websites and then kind of give my what's good and bad about it, per se.
All right.
Okay, so the first thing is attractive content. So since people aren't shopping in these stores, since it's an online e-commerce website, you want to have as much pictures or content as possible. So that way the customer will be drawn to the product and even drawn to buying it right away. You want to make them have the product essentially without question. So not even like, oh, do I want this? No, you want them to have it, boom, already in checkout. The second thing, Second thing would be prime flow and navigation. So you want a website that's not cluttered up and too busy, but at the same time, you don't want a blank slate where it's just like, well, it's almost too minimalistic at the same time. A good balance of content will give you a prime flow and navigation. So you don't want to leave the customer wondering where a product would be found or where can I find the contact or anything really. You want to lay it out all for them. So then there's no question at all. Okay, so the third thing would be slick and simple checkout process. Oftentimes when I've gone on some e-commerce websites and their checkout process is a little, I'd say tedious or confusing, it almost makes you want to quit the whole process and not even buy the product. So when you have a checkout process on your website, you want to make it as simple as possible, almost have PayPal enabled and everything else you need, and not have too much extra stuff like, oh, here's the newsletter, here's this, here's that. Like too many sign up things at the end will almost disinterest the customer as well. Number four, good customer support. So having a responsive customer support will make the customer feel appreciated. And if there's ever anything like, oh, I bought the wrong size or a wrong purchase, and you contact that store and they contact you right away, there's almost this sense of like, oh, this store cares about the customers. Even if it's I've had a wrong purchase one time. Oh, I bought the wrong size, and I've contacted customer support from a couple stores. Even that automated message of we'll get right back to you within a couple minutes, that's almost reassuring more than no answer at all, in my mind. Number five would be access through mobile devices. So you want your website to be responsive, but I also think you should have, if possible, an app for your website too. So that way you get at pushing content as much as you possibly can. Some companies, I'm not sure if it's a lot of companies nowadays, but I see a lot of them making apps. And I think it's a good idea, honestly. I don't see why not. So now I'm going to go to the three websites I was speaking of. Let me get out of here. So the first one I chose was Reebok. Right here, there's this cool like video animatic, but everything right here. So there's like the 20% off, blog help, exchange, return, order tracker, all these little menus right here. I wouldn't even have a question of where would I find something, because also here's the search bar. Here's your bag or cart, and then personal profile. To me, this is really good. Like I don't have complaints per se, and I think it's really engaging, especially this crazy little animatic. Like it's just a shoe. You don't have to go that far, but hell, why not? You know, I'm already drawn into buying this shoe just based on this whole ad right here. The second website I chose was Vans. Again, a shoe company, really killing it. Again, order status, find a store. The search bar is right here. All these tabs. I don't have a question again of like where would I find something. Now this third website, I'm actually a really big fan of and customer of, Civil Regime. They're a newer e-commerce website. They do like young adult, older, like I guess you'd call it psychedelic clothing. But to me, there are some tabs right here. This search bar, I didn't really know was there until I had to kind of look around. So to me, if that was a little bit bigger, it might optimize the flow. The cart right here was noticeable to me, but then some of the tabs I feel like could have been minimized probably into one. So like shipping and returns probably could have gone under like some customer support probably tab. But besides that, I feel like it's still engaging in the way of this big picture and oh, look at that cool jacket, shop now. And scroll down and there's a couple more categories. So to me, this could be improved a little more, but it's not terrible. And that is all I have.
All right, nice job. Now, can you keep your screen being shared for a minute, Dylan?
Yeah. You want me to be on this website?
Yeah, yeah. I want to see if we can talk about some of these websites. I thought it was an excellent presentation. Um, and I'd like to have people give some of their feedback on these websites, and I'd like to give some too. So first of all, um, what do you guys think? Let's talk about this website right here. Do you guys have any opinions about it? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you agree with Dylan in what he liked and what he thought could be improved? Any thoughts from you guys?
Well, I believe you've mentioned before about websites looking WordPressy, and I guess this one kind of does. It's got the header and that hero image. I think like some parallax scrolling to it or something. So it does seem pretty familiar. Of like I think like the Astra theme you've shown us. Yeah,
That's
seems
fair.
to just follow the same rules and dimensions largely.
That's fair. I think this site does look incredibly WordPressy. In fact,
Yeah.
you could go to Astra right now and get this a template that looked almost identical to this. Um, so that's an excellent point. Anything else from you guys?
For me, I really feel like they definitely used Elementor, obviously, in WordPress, because there is the option to have one giant picture or video and then these three little tabs. Like it would be very, to me, now I see almost, oh, this is how you did it in a way.
Yeah. Uh, I think that one thing I would consider an error is what you pointed out, which is that that magnifying glass over on the left.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of. Okay, uh, people like to do as few clicks as possible on the web, and every time you add an extra click, you're dissuading somebody from doing something, right? Like, I prefer websites that just have a search box on them. Why do I have to do an extra click just to bring the search box up? Do you know what I mean? That's, you guys might consider that being really picky or whatever, but I mean, they got plenty of room. Is it just an aesthetic decision? Do they think it's cool to have just one icon over here because they've got two over there, and they didn't like the look of the search box? Well, I'm sorry, but I like the look of the search box. I like to be able to just click in there and search for my things instead of having to click on that and then type in something and click again. So, that may seem petty to you guys, but it's an annoyance. Um, okay, can you go back to one of those other sites? Oh wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Trevor's mentioning something about this. He says, I like the centered heading, but it is hard to find a search bar. The amount of main page under the company name is a bit much to me. I'd rather it be on the right instead. I don't mind the magnifying glass graphic, but it feels weird on the left. Okay. So, yeah, he's making another point, which is we get acclimated to certain things being in certain places. Like, it's true with website design, you can be unique and do whatever you want. But at this point, a lot of things have become standardized. Like, a logo is almost always in the left-hand corner and occasionally in the middle, and if it's in the middle, it's just because somebody wanted to be a little different, right? But things like search boxes and profiles and shopping carts are universally on the right. So why are you reinventing the wheel and making it kind of inconvenient and weird for us, is my question.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is kind of odd.
okay, can you go to one of those other sites?
Yeah, because I was going to say, when I go to Vans, look, it's right there. There's no second click kind of thing.
Yeah, and now what I found really interesting about both this and the Reebok site was that, okay, what we're looking at right now is what's called above the fold, right?
Yeah.
So, first of all, they've done an excellent job of giving you everything you could possibly want above the fold. Not only do you have your search box and all your regular drop-down menus, but you've got all these sort of grayed out extra menus you might need. And then you've even got a chat over here on the right, and it even shows you the number of items in your cart. You imagine you could click on that to go to your cart, right? Now, what I found really interesting about both these sites is there's one thing that's missing. I wouldn't call it vital or whatever, but it's not anywhere here visible in the top. And I was just kind of interested as why it wasn't. Can you guys think of what might be missing from this above the fold part of the website?
One thing we hear about a lot from you, I think, is having a home button. But is that what you're driving for?
Right. Right. I'm a big fan of home buttons. Sort of classic website design requires that you have a home button because not everybody who uses the website knows to click on the logo to go home. Um, and also it's just a little easier for some people. I mean, if you put a home button right before the word shop, when somebody's clicking around right here and they want to go back to the home page, they can just move their mouse over a little bit instead of going all the way over to the left. Now, once again, I'm being very picky, but when you spend a lot of time on the internet or on your phone or whatever, like most of us do, the more sort of ergonomic things are, the fewer clicks you have to make, the fewer movements, the more efficient you are, the more you appreciate the companies, right? Does anybody notice anything else that that isn't here above the fold? Something that you might think, I'll give you a clue, might be good for promotion?
Social media.
Yeah, social media. So can you scroll down and show us if the social media is like near the bottom of this page or something?
I think it is at the bottom. Yeah, it's
Yeah, there it is.
right here.
Right. So it's interesting to me that they.
Contact.
I remember when social media used to be a priority in the sense that it was always at the top of the page. But nowadays I see it at the bottom a lot. But and look at notice the other things that are at the bottom. You know, in addition to an expanded navigation menu down there where they show you all the pages, they also have the email newsletter and even a store locator. So that's really interesting to me. Okay, can we go to the third site? I guess that would be Reebok.
Yeah.
Now, I suspect that since these guys are competitors, that they're going to be very similar in their layouts. If you go down to the bottom, are we going to see social media down there too?
I believe so. Right. Oh, it's not even.
Wow.
Time I was on here is down here.
So, this is the bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. So they don't have. They're missing the boat on a few things. First of all, an email sign up like those other guys. Social media. It's very strange. What did they do with their social media? It's like it's not present.
It's like they don't want to be known.
Yeah, that's a really. Oh, there's their email. There's the email sign up.
Right there.
Yeah, scroll up a little more. I'm really curious where their freaking social media is.
Ooh, don't look at the prices for the shoes though. My goodness.
They're pricey, huh?
Yeah. This one right here. My goodness. 180.
You know what? I'll bet
Not.
I have a partial explanation for this. Can you go click on a specific product, a shoe?
Yeah. Click on that 181.
Yeah, let's do the 181. Now, can you scroll around and see if there's social media buttons around this?
No.
Wow.
Because this part right here scrolls with the info for the shoe, specifications.
That trips me out. I was going to say that maybe what they did was they attached the social media buttons to the individual products,
Right.
which is an option you have with a lot of e-commerce. But can we go back to Vans and see? Well, Vans we know has social media. Go to a Vans product, and see if there's social media attached to the product. Oh, yeah, interesting. They don't have it here, huh? Well, okay. Well, at least Van has social media icons at the bottom of the site, but I think that's also a missed opportunity on their part. It's really
Yeah.
it's really easy to enable social media icons on e-commerce, and then you've got something right there somebody can click on and go, tell their Twitter friends or their Instagram folks, hey, I just bought some new Vans, and share that information. Okay, I will say one last thing, which I think is a real possibility. When you buy something like this in the checkout screen, sometimes they have a little button that says share on social media. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
Um,
let's see.
so I think they probably have it, but it probably just got moved or something. Are you going to buy those?
Not really, but
I'm
let's see.
going to force you to buy these for. It probably won't give it to you until after you buy it.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I know for a fact that when I buy things on like Sticker Mule, a sticker website that I go to, that after you make your purchase, it says, share this purchase on, and then it gives you all the social media icons, right? So I would assume that they have some other options like that. Okay, so Trevor says in the header I see newsletter group next to order tracker. So I don't know if he's talking about header here or the other one. I see newsletter group next to order tracker. Maybe we need to go back to Reebok. Order tracker newsletter sign up. Oh, okay. So they have newsletter sign up, right? So yeah, I was thinking specifically of like social media icons, although that is, clearly a way to get a hold of people. Okay, so that's really interesting, Dylan. Thank you for sharing that. It was a well done presentation and very interesting to analyze these sites. Okay, so let me go back to my page here. All right. Okay, so let me share my screen. Share screen, share. Boom. Okay, and then let's see. I gotta find my list of people here. Come on, bring that up. So Heather, how are you doing on the whole presentation front? Are you still working on yours?
It's done today, but I think I can do it.
Okay, cool. Then I will unshare and now you can do yours if you like.
Okay. Let me figure this out. Let's see. Yeah, just give me a second.
Okay.
Is that popping up?
Yep.
Okay. So mine's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I think it was pretty important. Web domains. I think you lightly touched on it when you were picking out a web domain name thing. But let's see. Why is this not working? There we go. So what is a web domain? It can be thought of as just .com. You register primary domain is what you pick to represent your company for whatever term you decide. No one else can touch it for that term. Domain name, work, and
Heather, your microphone is cutting in and out.
sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I have a really crappy headset, so it does that.
Okay.
So domain name.
You're cutting in and out again.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
It might do it again. Protect a business. Acquiring extra domains secures an increase in online traffic when people search for keywords on your site, making it easier to find your website. It also prevents someone from doing an extension other than .com on your site and stealing your traffic. You can still hear me, right?
I can.
Okay. I had to make sure. I have to keep my head perfectly still, otherwise my headset
That's what I was going to
disconnects.
say. It sounded like it was like all the distortions were coming in when you were moving your head.
Yeah, it happens when I'm in any Zoom call and I'm trying to listen to my professors teach. Sometimes I hear half of what they say and then they start saying something really important and my headphones cut out.
Nice.
Yeah, it sucks. So parked domain is a name you register by itself and forwards anyone to your main site. All your domains are linked to a single site, and it makes it so you can only have to pay for one hosting account and update one site to update the other sites accordingly. I think it's 75% of domains are parked or not resolving, and it's why most people can't acquire the desired .com domain names. So it's if you try to register a domain name, at least 75% of them are just sitting and not being used.
Wow.
Domains set up their own individual sites under their primary domain, and you still only need to pay for one hosting account, and each domain can be registered itself without additional cost and host plan. Like a primary domain is example.com, members info, mycommunitynet, and myaccount.org can all be linked to example.com. And then So these are just like facts that I put down that I thought were really interesting. Like 5,000 domain names are registered every hour. So 120,000 domains are made every day, and 43 are million. Yeah, 43 million are made every year. Domain names can only be 63 characters long, and domain extensions have different regulations. And all A domains are, A.com domains are taken. Repeated in any succession from 1 through 63 are registered. And another thing I found really interesting is like the most expensive domain name that's ever been bought was vacationrentals.com. It was purchased for like $35 million, and it was in competition with expedia.com. And then all 3-character domains are taken. 50,000 character combinations you could make are taken because they're quick and easy to remember. So like any quick and easy to remember domains have already been like registered. And that's about it for my thing.
Okay, thank you very much. Wow, interesting statistics, huh? Who knew 5,000 domains every hour? That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot. It's like, how do you even have any hope of like registering anything?
I know. I mean, that's why you have to like be kind of unique. Like, you know how Flickr is FLICKR without the E. You know, and the only reason that that exists is because probably Flickr.com spelled correctly was taken, right? Or Tumblr was the same way, right?
Yeah.
TUMBLR, right? Yeah. And so I think I explained, you know, I told you about, I was doing a demo and I was using different domain names and stuff. Did I tell you guys about trying to get the Dragon domain name?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm talking about is how hard it was to get. Okay, very nice. Thank you for that. A lot of interesting stuff there, and um, you know, like I told you guys when I was talking about domains, sometimes it's a really good idea to start your whole business process with the domain search and work backwards from that, because as Heather pointed out, there's only so many domains that are available, and it's kind of silly to create a whole business, create business cards, and then go see if your domain name is available because it's probably not. Okay, cool. Very nice job. All right, so what I want to do now, I'm going to share my screen again. I want to go over some what I think are very useful CSS coding pieces of information with you guys. So you might want to open up your WordPress websites so you can do some of these examples with me. So I've got 5 things I want to talk about. 4 of them are just pure code things that you can do on your site that I think are pretty useful. And one of them is just, you know, about adding a MailChimp sign up form to your site. Now, in previous classes, I usually tell people about MailChimp and you know, I have them sign up for an account or whatever. I show them how good it is. I like MailChimp a lot. You guys don't have to sign up for a MailChimp account if you don't want to today. I'll just kind of show you how it all works. But I'm you know, and of course you can make your own choices which email you know systems you want to use. You know, email newsletter systems you want to use, but I think MailChimp is a good one. Okay, so let's start with MailChimp. I'm going to go to Google Chrome here. I'm in Chrome, okay. So let me go to this website. Okay, there it is. So I've got this sample website, Happy Animal Park, that I've been using. And let me see if I can go to my home page here. Yeah, okay. So one of the things that I did recently was I installed a WordPress plugin to create an email newsletter sign up for MailChimp. And I just want to go through the process with you guys. And you can follow along on your websites if you want, or you can just kind of watch along. So of course I logged into the dashboard for my website, and I went down to plugins and I went to add new, and I searched for MailChimp. Now, the good news about MailChimp is that I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but when I made websites for all you guys, I made them and included the WooCommerce information, the WooCommerce plugin. And when we were setting up WooCommerce, there was a button there that said, "Do you want to install MailChimp?" And I said, "Yeah, do that because it's a good thing." So what that means is you probably have the MailChimp for WooCommerce plugin already installed. Okay, and of course that's a version of MailChimp that just works with WooCommerce. So in other words, that's for people who, specifically for people who buy stuff on your store. And so you can look into how to use that thing, you know, and all the different things you can do with it, like sending out emails to people who bought this type of product or people who want to know about deals or whatever, right? But what we're going to talk about today is this other sort of unauthorized plugin. It's called MC4WP MailChimp for WordPress. And it says MailChimp for WordPress, the #1 unofficial MailChimp plugin. And once again, you can review all this information down here. Over 1 million active installs. Now, by the way, this number here could be 4 million. You know, WordPress at some point just decided, okay, we're gonna hit a certain number, and then we're gonna put a plus symbol by it, right? And I don't know how high that is. I don't know, you know, if 1 million is where they stop, even if somebody goes up to 10 million. So it could be a really big number. But anyway, regardless, anytime I see 5 stars on a plugin and a fairly decent number, you know, a number more than 100 or something like that, I'm just automatically impressed. A perfect rating for, you know, over 1,200, almost 1,300 people is ridiculous. Also, you know, you always want to check when it was updated, and if it's fairly recent, like within the last 6 months or even within the last 6 weeks, that's really good. So a lot of benefits about this thing. Now, so if you choose to install this, click you know, install and then activate. And then you know, after you activate it, you can go to the settings for that plugin. So at that point, I would go to installed plugins, and I would scroll down and go to, now remember, you're probably going to have 2. You're probably going to have MailChimp for WooCommerce, which is the one that was already installed, and that's just for WooCommerce. But this is the one we want, MC4WP MailChimp for WordPress. And I would click settings. Now, you guys are going to have something a little different than what I have. I have to, I guess I have to disconnect to show you how this works. Let's see, am I still logged in? Yeah, I am. Okay. So I'm going to hit Save Changes. Okay, it's not a MailChimp key, so maybe I'm trying to get them. Okay, good. All right, so when you guys go to your settings, what you're going to find is that, you know, this email newsletter plugin will only work, as makes perfect sense, if you have a MailChimp account, right? So, you know, that's what you have to do. Now, once again, I'm telling you guys, you don't have to go out and get a MailChimp account if you don't want. But let me show you where you go to find the information that you need. So you go to MailChimp.com. If you don't have an account, you can sign up for a free one. I like these guys a lot, as I've said, obviously. I haven't checked their pricing in a while. I guess I could click right here. But it used to be that anytime you had an email list that was under 500 people, it was free. And then when you go over that, you start paying a small amount of money. So let's see what they are now. Oh, wow. They've grown a lot. So now you can have up to 2,000 people on your email list for free. And then look at this big jump here. Oh, go to 50,000 people for $9.99 a month. So clearly, you know, a lot of people are going to be paying $10 a month for MailChimp once they get past 2,000 contacts. So this is this is a very small business, under 2,000 email lists. And then once you get up into this, then you're talking about, quote, small business, right? But also look at this. This is a very interesting thing that almost all companies do. Almost all companies that list pricing, they always highlight one of the choices. And they'll say something like best deal or best value or whatever, recommended. And the reason for that is because this is the price point at which they're going to make the most money. And this is the one they want to sell you, right? So right here, $14.99, that's the $15 a month is what they really want to get people paying. Now, don't get me wrong. They would love the big business. They love the big businesses that are paying 300 beans a month, right? But for most of the businesses, they want your 15 bucks a month, right? Now, what they're probably going to do, because this is the way that e-commerce works, is I wouldn't say that this version right here is going to be what we would call, sort of truncated software, right? In other words, if you're paying for it $10 a month, you're probably going to get the minimum amount of things you need, right? But they're definitely going to take things that they think you'll want and strip them out of this plan and put them in over here. This is kind of like the deluxe plan over here. And the idea behind this is to give you, the basics of what you need, but to try to get you to upgrade to this because they really want that price point, right? In addition, they'll give you this thing for free to get you to like them, and then with the hopes that you'll sign up here. Each one of these choices is basically going to have one or two less things than most people would want, just to get you to go up to that next level. And if you guys create e-commerce, whether for yourselves or for a business, unfortunately, human nature, it's a good thing to do. Give everybody 99% of what they want, but find that one thing that they're eventually going to need in addition to wanting, and put it in the next tier, right? Okay, so anyway, this is what you get for free. I already signed into my MailChimp account here. Once you get a MailChimp account, you can read the docs and everything about how it works. Basically, you set up campaigns. I think this is some old account I haven't used in a million years. I'm kind of afraid to see what it looks like. Let's see, 2014. Oh my God. This is going to be scary. The graphics will probably be bad. Oh, ouch, ouch. I feel personally hurt by my own design at this point, right? Look at that dog. Anyway, and here's I was selling t-shirts at a Comic-Con 6 years ago, apparently. And I should really be, some form of punishment should be applied to me for this graphic. But so this is an email newsletter, right? And it's a really boring, silly one. It's just a skinny little thing. It's got it's got sale things there, and then here's a little T-shirt, right? But anyway, this is what's called the campaign, which is a newsletter, and then you have your lists of people. Let me go back one to see if it gave me the choice of lists. Oh yeah. So let's see. You can view a report here. Apparently, this was an incredibly successful campaign. There were 22 people that opened it and 1 click. Ouch, that's scary. So pretty scary. Let's see now. Where are my lists? Let me go back again. Okay, here we go. So audience. They were calling it audience now. They used to call it lists. So let's see. Tucson Comic-Con list has 177 contacts. 174 of them are subscribers. So let's see. How do we get to that damn list? View contacts. So the way this works is, you collect email addresses from people either sort of in person, or via sign-up form like the MailChimp sign-up form we're working with. If they come in via the sign-up form, they automatically get dropped into the database and show up here in your email audience list. And then, you can make choices about sending an email to everybody or sending to select audiences. You can subdivide your list. You can subdivide it by demographic. And this is the kind of thing that, like I said, in the free version, they're just going to give you the minimum. But as you go up through the steps, they're going to say, okay, you want to subdivide by demographic, like people over 60, people under 20. Hey, go up to the $9.99 version, right? So anyway, you can do all that kind of stuff. You can add and remove people manually to this list. You can import spreadsheets. So basically, any way you need to get your audience together. And then, of course, so you create a email audience list, right, of people you want to send to. You can segment that into different audiences. Then you create a campaign, and they have templates that you can use. And then you send out test messages to yourself, and if they work, then you're good to go, and you can actually schedule your campaign. You don't have to sit there to click the button to make it go. you can say at 12:01 on January 1st, I want my email to go out telling everybody, you know, we're having a New Year's sale, you know, or whatever. So let's see. Now under sign up forms, they have all of these different kinds of sign up forms that you can build, including like pop-up sign up forms, embedded HTML code that you could drop into websites. And of course, we already have a plugin that's going to create a sign up form for us, right? And I'll just go to Form Builder here just to show you a little bit about this. So this is really cool. The Form Builder is really sophisticated. And you can choose whatever you want on your sign up form. You can click on these buttons here, and it's going to add more features. Once you're done, all you have to do is grab the code from this. Let's see, where do I get the code? Let's see, design it. Okay, that would be change anything. What's translated? I don't know what this is. Let's see, it's been a while since I've used this stupid thing. It used to be that you had just a all you had to do was click a button. Yeah, look at all these different forms that you can make. Yeah, so I don't know where they put it, but essentially, there was a place where you could just click and grab the code for this. I guess it would be the embedded forms. Let me click this. Yeah, here it is. So if you just wanted to make a very simple form, look at the different choices you have here. Classic, here's condensed. I like the condensed one. Boom, you know, email address and subscribe button. Horizontal, unstyled, advanced. Now, even in this condensed one, you can go into the CSS and you could make that button half the size and you could change its color and stuff like that. But essentially, all you have to do is copy this code right here and paste it into your website, and you've got that little email sign up, like, you know, like Vans had at the bottom of their website. You could just drop this into Elementor, you know, create a new section, a text section, drop this code in, and boom, you'd have your little sign up form at the bottom of your website. So that's a cool way to do it. You can go, you don't even need the WordPress plugin. You can go directly sign up for a free account with MailChimp, grab this embedded code and stuff it into your page, and you're good, right? Okay, and then look, they've got some other things here. You can also build survey forms. Segments, I believe, are different segments of your audience. There's also clearly there's analytics information, like I was showing you before. You can dissect how many people opened and how many people went to your site and see how successful something was. Okay, but let's go back to the website. Okay, so this is, you know, this is the sort of unofficial MailChimp plugin that I installed. And what it's asking for is my MailChimp API key. Do any of you guys know what API stands for?
Application Programming Interface.
Correct. So API is a very common term in the web. And what it means is anybody who has some kind of website or program that they want to interact with other people, they always build an API. And an API is a way to connect to their product, right? In this case, MailChimp has a product, email newsletters. And so they've built an API which allows things like WordPress websites to connect to it. Now, once you create your free account, you can get to your API in MailChimp by clicking on your account button, which is way down here at the bottom, going to your account and clicking on extras and then API keys. Now what you're going to have here, and I'm sure this is not new to you guys because you probably do this stuff all day long, is just a big number that you have to copy. It's called the API key. And then you come back to your plugin and you simply paste that key in and hit Save Changes. Okay, and once you do, now your plugin is connected via the API to MailChimp. And now you can do things like, you can see, this is great. I made this test newsletter called Greg LeMaux Fan Club with 0 subscribers, right? I don't know what happened. I guess I never sent out that email. these are mostly just test things, but so it shows me that I have 3 different lists here. I can choose when people, I can program it so that when people sign up for my newsletter, that they're signing up for a specific one. Most people would create an account and just create one, email list, and when people sign up, they're signing up for that. But as you get more sophisticated, you can do different things, right? And then, of course, even this free plugin wants you to upgrade, right? They're like, hey, we have more cool stuff if you upgrade to the premium version, right? But anyway, now that this plugin is connected to my specific MailChimp account via the API, I can use what's called a widget to create this email newsletter anywhere on my site that I want. So now I would go to Appearance and then Widgets. And let me delete this from here so I can show you how it happens from scratch. In widgets, of course, you have all of these default widgets that you can drag and drop into your sidebar. Some of them you can put below your header, and some of them you can put into the footer. And when you install certain plugins, it installs a widget over here on the left-hand side. Now this is JavaScript, so it's drag and drop. So you can take a calendar and put it over here, and it'll show up on your website. If you don't want it anymore, you hit delete, right? Now, of course, the sidebar widgets are only going to show up on pages that have sidebars on them. They won't show up on the full width pages. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, you can see I have something called a MailChimp sign-up form. I'm going to grab it and put it up here above my search box, right? It automatically saves it, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, when I go to my website, my front page doesn't have a sidebar, but this sample page that I put in does have a sidebar, and there it is. It says newsletter, which is the name of the section, and this is the very simple sign-up form that comes default with this MailChimp plugin. It just simply says email address and sign up. Now, don't worry about the fact that there's this scary blue and yellow and all this kind of stuff down here. It normally doesn't look like that. Let me take that out. The reason all of that exists is because I was doing a demo here of some other stuff that I'm going to show you. So this is how it really looks. It says the word newsletter, and then it says email address, your email address, and sign up. And of course, you can style any of these things. You could make that longer. You could make this a rounded rectangle and put a color in there. And you can, of course, get rid of this word newsletter, right? But I'm going to put my code back in here because in a second, I'm going to demonstrate to you what all that does. Okay, so now I can go back to my widgets area if I like. And, if I don't, like I said, if I don't want it to say newsletter there, I can just open this up and just take this title out and hit save. And now when I go visit the site and that page in particular, you'll notice it doesn't say newsletter anymore. So once again, this is going to be going to look a lot better than it does now when I pull all this stuff out. Once again, that's a very very condensed thing, and you can style it any way you want. Okay, and it works. You just put your email address in there, hit sign up, and it puts that email address into your database. It's ready to send things to. It also, of course, it's what's referred to as a double opt-in sign up, which means it also sends an email to the person whose email address was put in and asks them, it says specifically, hey, somebody signed you up for this newsletter. Are you sure you want it? Click this link to confirm. It's the double opt-in. It makes sure that you're not sending email to people who don't want to get it, right? Okay, any questions about that? About MailChimp or about the sign-up form? Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. So if I go back to the class website here, so that's the first thing I wanted to talk to you about. Adding MailChimp email newsletters to your WordPress and how valuable that can be. There's some marketing guides that I used to read many years ago about marketing on the internet or just marketing in general. And it's been said that your email newsletter is your most valuable asset because whatever you're selling, even if it's yourself, even if it's just you trying to get a job as a graphic or web designer or something, it's your email account, and it's kind of, in the old days they would call it a Rolodex, right? When you had all these, paper business cards that you could, had all the information you could call people, right? Well, now it's an email newsletter. The more people on your email newsletter, the more people you can alert when you're selling something or when you're looking for a job or so on and so forth. Now, of course, many of you think of social media that way, and it is used that way. If you, especially people who have grown up in this social media age, are acclimated to just, putting something on Facebook and boom, things happen, right? Have any of you guys ever like just put something up on Facebook like, hey, does anybody know where I can rent a moving truck or anything like that? You guys ever do that?
Yeah, I actually asked somebody for a recommendation for a landscaper, and within a couple minutes got some replies.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Let's see. Trevor says for sure, and I think it's become pretty common. Yeah, you're right. It has become pretty common. And, it's just like putting it out into the universe, and then, because it's all connected, whatever your choice of medium is, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it can come back to you very quickly. And so, but like I'm saying, the email newsletter serves that purpose in a business sense, right? In a social media sense, you can use whatever your favorite social media is. But it's, in that case, you've got a wider audience. You've got friends and family as well as, potential business people. I know at least 2 artists in Tucson, and I'm convinced that the only way they sell their stuff is by putting a post up on Facebook. Every now and then I'll see, though, one of them is a painter. He paints these really tiny paintings. They're actually really cool. They're the size of matchbooks, or matchboxes, those small boxes of matches. He paints these little paintings of cats and weird animals and stuff like that, and he's really good. And whenever he needs money, I guess, or whenever he wants to sell stuff, he just puts a little ad up on Facebook, and it says, new paintings. I have, 4 new ones. They probably average for $100 or a couple $100 a piece, and then he like sells out right away. And then I know another guy who makes 3-dimensional objects. Like he'll do 3D designs in the computer and print them out, and he'll put up a post too, and stuff will sell. So clearly we're all tapped into that that market right now. But you have to consider, like I said, that's a social market and not a business channel, right? A business channel is something like people who have agreed to sign up to your email list and have agreed to be marketed to. You can do things in that environment that you can't do in the social environment. Okay, so all right, so let's move on to these pieces of code here that I want to share with you guys and the things that they can do. So we're going to start with this first one here, which is targeting H1 and P tags, right? I'm going to go back to my example site here, right? Now, let me go ahead and pull all my code out again, yet again. And let me go, let's see, can I go to my homepage here? Will it let me? Okay, great. So this is what the website looks like, right? Now, what I want to show you guys is, of course, the customizer is extremely powerful in WordPress. And of course, you can get to the customizer by just, let me exit here. Yeah, leave the site. Of course, you can get to the customizer whenever you're logged in by simply clicking Customize up at the top here. Right there, that button, right? Customize, come down to Additional CSS, and then right here is where you can add your custom CSS code. Now, this is what my site actually looks like. I just threw some junk text in here that we can play with, right? Now, just for your knowledge, this piece of text here was put in with Elementor, and it has an H1 tag around it, which of course is the biggest headline. So that has an H1 tag around it. This has a paragraph around it, a paragraph tag, a P tag, and this has a special class. I gave it a name of my text, right? Now, the reason that I put these 3 pieces of information in was so I could target them with specific HTML or CSS code, right? So let me I'm going to be doing this stuff all day, so let me start with the very first one. I gotta let me see if I can open. I should have the ability to drop this into a little page here. Okay, my thing isn't coming up. Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on one second. Let me go to a new. Come on, don't be so slow. Okay. All right, perfect. Okay, let's go back here. All right, and let me take this out for a second too. Okay, so here we are. We've got a web page, and on that web page we have an H1 tag, which is the biggest. We have some text that is surrounded by an H1 tag. Now, by the way, if I wanted to edit this, let me go to another version of this page here. Okay. Let's see, back to home. Okay, so damn it. Give me 1 second here. We're getting to the page, edit with Elementor. Okay. Now, this code right here is just a normal piece of text. And what I did was I surrounded it with an H1 tag. And the easy way to do that is, you just take a regular piece of text, which is this buy cool stuff on this website. You highlight it over here, and you click on this drop-down menu, and you change it to an H1 tag, right? Okay, now the reason that it's got all this styling on it is because of my sample that I did over here. Now I have to hit update, and then I'll go back over here to my customization. Now let's see, if I hit publish, while I have everything else, nothing in there, it's going to come back to the way this originally looked. When you put an H1 on that, it just makes it big. Now, let me see if I can paste this back in. Okay. Now, what I did here was I added some CSS styling that made a lot of changes to this H1 tag. So I did that by writing H1 and then putting the, the curly braces, right? And I changed a number of aspects of this H1 tag. First of all, I gave it a background color of red. I made its text color white. I gave it the font weight of bold, and I aligned its center. Now, the only way that the alignment center will work is if you also add in a width tag. If you don't have the width tag, then sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, and then of course the last thing I did was put in a font size of 2.5 EMs. EMs, of course, a unit of relative measurement that makes things work kind of across the board, across all devices, right? Okay, so I put all that information in, and I can hit publish, and now this H1, this piece of text that was surrounded by H1 tags now has all these attributes on it. However, let me see if this is the case over here. However, every single page title on this website is an H1 tag, which means, unfortunately, if I mess with the H1 tags, I do the same thing to all the titles on my website that I did to just that one section of that one page that I wanted to edit, right? So you have to be aware of that. You can change things, you can change them globally, but if you do, once again, it affects things globally, right? Now, the same thing happened with this other piece of text that's on this page. I'm going into additional CSS. Okay, so I said buy cool stuff on this website or we don't care, right? Now, if I go back into Elementor and I click here, or we don't care, and I go into this text tab here, you can see that I've surrounded this or we don't care with a paragraph tag. Now watch what happens when I take the paragraph tag off. Or we don't care goes back to normal text. So clearly, I made some kind of CSS that affected things that were within paragraph tags. So let's put the paragraph tags back in, begin P and end P. And now you can see what the styles are for that. A blue background, a regular type weight font instead of bold, and then yellow and center, right? Now that code is all right here. So I'll copy that and go back here and go back to my customize window here. And you can see it doesn't exist like that here because I took it out. But the second that I put it in, so background color blue, color yellow, and color, by the way, is text color. Font weight normal, so not bold. Font size 1.5 EM, so it's smaller than this. And then, of course, width 100% to make sure that the centering works. The text-align center is what centers that. Now, you can see that, sure enough, it had that effect on this. But once again, it affected every paragraph, everything that's in a paragraph, wrapped within paragraph tags on your website. So you have to be careful of that. You can target general things like H1s and Ps, but it affects everything. So what's the natural conclusion? Well, the natural conclusion is that somehow, if you want to target something specifically, you have to make it unique. And the way you make it unique is you add in a class name, okay? So let's go ahead and, first of all, let's take this paragraph thing off so we can see things again, right? Now, it says right here, here's some text you can target. Let's go back to Elementor. Here's some text you can target. Notice the HTML code I wrote around that. So first of all, there's a paragraph tag. So here's some text you can target is inside of a paragraph. But then inside the beginning paragraph tag, I have this little code here which says class equals, quote, my text, end quote, right? So just by giving it a name, I'm identifying that as a unique aspect of the website. So, there's generally paragraph tags around most text so it can move away from other text. But if inside that beginning paragraph tag, you give it a class name, class equals whatever you want to call it, now you can target it with code, right? So once again, if I go back here to this version of the web page, here is the same text, which is inside of a paragraph, and it does have the my class, it does have class equals my class on it. But because I haven't targeted any code over here, nothing happens to it, right? However, the second that I go in and put in some information about targeting it, suddenly it gets big and pink, right? Now, when you say, in the HTML code, you say class equals, quote, my text. But in the CSS code, the word class is converted to a dot. That's how you represent something as a class in CSS. So dot my text means class equals my text on the HTML page, right? So by saying dot my text, I can change the colors to pink. I can give it no background. I can say font size 4 EM, which is bigger. If I want to center it, I can give it a width of 100%. And then I can use this text-align center. And there it goes, it's centered, right? Or I could say text-align right or text-align left or whatever I want to do. Okay, so the H1 tag, we could target it, but it targets everything. The paragraph tag, we can target it, targets everything. All we have to do is give something a class name, and now it just targets that, right? So that gives us a lot of abilities, a lot of strengths when it comes to what we're doing here. Now, as I said, the H1 tag is the title tag for every single page, right? Now, of course, so we probably wouldn't use this H1 tag up here because it would target, all the page titles and would make them look terrible. So let's get rid of that. Let's leave this one. I'm going to hit publish, so this publishes. Let's leave this one that targets just my class here, because that's how you probably should do things. You should target just specific things and make changes to them, right? But let's say that we did want to mess with an H1 tag, specifically because it was the page title, right? So let's go over here to this sample page, and let's notice that we have a sample page here, and WordPress automatically puts the page title at the top, right? Well, you might not like that. You might not want page titles on your page. Maybe you don't want a page title on your home page, right? So how do you target just that and get rid of it, right? Well, of course, this is where the web developer tools come in really handy. So in Chrome, you click on your little drop-down menu here, you go to More Tools, you go to Developer Tools. It pops up this little interface here. You click on this little button in the lower left corner. you roll over different things, and you roll on top of the word sample and you click on it. Actually, I'm just going to show you what happens when I roll over it. It's so nice in Chrome. Right up there at the very top is the name, is the CSS title for this section. It makes it so easy. It's called h1.entry-title. And if you want to mess with these page titles, that's what you put in the CSS. You can change the font, you can change the color, or you can get rid of them completely, right? You can see right in there the color is black. It tells you the name of the font, Helvetica. It tells you the margins around it, and so on and so forth. So all I have to know is h1.entry-title. Now, if I go over here and I type that into my CSS, h1.entry-title, and then, of course, you put in your curly braces, now I can do anything I want with it. You know, I could say, well, let me go ahead and write this code properly. So I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to do it down here. Font weight, of course, I have to spell bold. You see it gets bold. We can put color, which of course means font color, and we can put green, and so on and so forth. So we can mess with that if we want. And that's global. It affects all the page titles because just like with the class that I said before, I'm targeting something specific. Now, before I mention, you might want to get rid of something like your page titles, and it's very easy to do. This is an incredibly powerful CSS line of CSS that I unfortunately use all the time. One of the most powerful ones I know of is to get rid of things, and that is display : none. Boom. Now all your h1.entry-titles are gone. They're there, but they're not being displayed. In other words, they exist in the code, but the code is saying, you're out of here, we don't want you visible. So display none is a tremendously valuable property. You can get rid of things you don't like, right? Okay, so let's go back to the regular class website and let's see what else. Let's see. Oh, I think I did all four. So, well, actually all five. So we talked about the MailChimp. We targeted H1 and P tags, right? We did display none just now. We targeted an element using a class name, and we removed the page titles by h1.entry-title. So, okay, any questions by you guys for any of that stuff? Okay, so at this point, I want to just check in with you guys and see if you've done some work on your websites that maybe we can check out and look at and check in with you and see how you're doing. Does anybody have some stuff we can look at? So, Trevor, Dylan, any of you guys make any improvements to your site? Ariana, any changes?
Well, I haven't made any big changes to mine.
Have any big changes? Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing is because we all work better when we have some kind of goal to work towards. I'm thinking maybe we should set a deadline for finishing these websites, just so that we can get them finished off and maybe go work on a new project after that. So let me check in with you guys to see what timeline you think is reasonable. Do you think you need 1 week to finish up your sites? Do you need a couple weeks? What sounds good to you guys? So Trevor says 2 Thursdays from now, which would be 2 weeks. How the rest of you guys feel about that? It's so quiet. It's so quiet. What's that?
I don't know.
You don't know if you can finish in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still working. I'm figuring out a lot of the processes here.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know how everyone else feels.
Okay, let's see. Under Pressure plays in the background. Yeah. Do 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 do. Okay. let's see, Heather, I'll just ask you guys, what do you think about a timeline for how long it would take to finish?
I definitely need 2 or more than 2 weeks to work on my website because it's like
Okay.
fighting me on the whole way.
Okay, so what about 3 weeks? Do you guys feel any better about that?
3 weeks, but people are saying they want more.
That sounds more doable.
Okay, what do you think, Ariana? I mean, 3 weeks?
Yeah, I guess that's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do that. Let's set that as a deadline because we need some kind of deadline. So let me see when that date is. So today's the 8th, so that would be the 29th. So let's do that. Let's have that be our deadline for, getting these websites finished. If you guys want to look at your websites over the weekend and or over the next week, I should say, and address any issues that you're having, you can email me, and things that are problematic, I can try to get back to you about, and we can try and get you over those hurdles. And then that will obviously clear the way for you to move faster on finishing your sites. So yeah, why don't you guys see, if we got 3 weeks here, then you want to make progress each week that we can look at and give you feedback on, so you can be done by the end of 3 weeks. And like I said, just to repeat, email me at any time. Let me know if you have a question or problem, and I'll help you try and figure it out. Okay. All right, and let's see, the 29th, I think, yes, that's correct. Or did I say the 28th? I don't remember what the hell it is. 29th, yes, that's correct. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some time right now to work on your sites. We got you all here in class. You're focused on web design, so hunker down and get some things done. I'm going to turn off my video, but I'll leave my audio on. So if you have a question, just chime in or write to me on the text, and then I'll just check back with you at the end of class. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, so why don't you guys work on your sites and let me know if you have questions.